Welcome to Uncle's Channel. Thanks for watching today. We finally got some more news about the new TMNT show that's coming out next year called Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's going to be sort of a in-between as far as like continuity-wise goes between the first Mutant Mayhem movie and the sequel that's supposed to come out in a couple years as well. And we finally got our first image of the show, at least the title screen anyway, or at least the logo for it. And you can see they're keeping the exact same art style as the movie, which I'm really excited about because, I mean, like, I really did enjoy the art style for Mutant Mayhem, and so I'm pretty excited keeping it, pretty similar to that. Obviously, being on a smaller budget for a television show on Paramount Plus, it's not going to be as, probably as detailed as the movie, but I still have high hopes that it's going to be a really unique art style that a lot of other cartoons, at least on the network anyway, aren't doing. They also announced that the cast for the four turtles is going to be the same as it was in Mutant Mayhem, and so I really like that they're keeping the same voice actors because it's not as much of a, shock as when you're watching the show and you're like, hey, it doesn't sound quite right, because you do get attached to voices, and like it always bothered me like growing up when they like swapped voices of a character in a television show. It always like threw me off and like really just like took me out of the experience. And so I really love that they're keeping the same voices for all the voice actors, and I also love that the fact that these kids are still teenagers, so their voice is going to change between Mutant Mayhem, changing a little bit during the television show before it gets to Mutant Mayhem sequel. And so it's not going to be like, what happens to their voices from Mutant Mayhem Part 1 to the sequel. We actually get to see the evolution of it and like see the kids grow up. It's almost like when I was a kid, I watched the show Malcolm in the Middle, and Malcolm was the same age as me, and it's like I got to see him progressively grow up inside the show. And I don't know, I felt that was really cool as a kid, being able to see that. And I think people watching the Turtle show are going to be able to see the Turtles maybe grow up a little bit throughout the individual seasons leading up to the next movie. Now, they've said in some articles here that the series sees the Turtles challenged like never before as Leo, Raph, Donnie, and Mikey each go in it alone for the first time. Faced with new threats and teaming up with old allies, the Turtles will discover who they really are when they don't have their brothers at their side. And so this is a really cool take on it because we're going to get to see like individual character development for every one of the Turtles instead of just like always a team. And I'm really excited for that because I'm a sucker for good character development in like every show that I watch, and finally getting to see like the individual personality, individual struggles of all the Turtles. I think it has the potential to be a really great show when it comes to the writing. I mean, even like down to like the title of the show, like which doesn't seem to hold a lot of bearing for most people. The title of the show, Tales of the TMNT, is actually like a reference to the old comic book, which was Tales of the TMNT as well. And the purpose of that old comic book was sort of give it like some background or some extra like fill in the continuity gaps a little bit between like main turtle issues. And this is basically what the movie is doing as well. And so like the title of the movie is matching up with the title of the comic books, at least to fill in sort of the plot holes between the two movies, just like the comic book did plot holes between the two main comic books. And so I really do like that they've actually thought about what the title of the show should be, and it really does fit with like the theme of what the show is going for, to align with like sort of old Turtles fans and sort of a little bit of a nod to them. And speaking of the creative direction or the writing for the show, the writer for the show is going to be Christopher Yost, and like I'll admit I didn't know who he was, so I did a little bit of research on here, and evidently he's got like some really good credits under his belt here. He was a writer for 10 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, which I've never like watched the show, but I've always heard it's a really good show. He wrote Thor Ragnarok. He also wrote The Dark World. He's written on like an Iron Man show for 20 episodes, The Avengers for 23 episodes, all kinds of like Marvel comics that we're going through here. Back to 2003 Ninja Turtles. He wrote 18 episodes of that, which is pretty impressive. I know the show ran for like 107 episodes, but still, 18 of them, that's a lot of writing credits at least to give to him. But I mean, all kinds of stuff, even down to like X-Men Evolution. I don't know if anybody remembers that show from the early 2000s, but I enjoyed it because I've always loved X-Men. But he's also worked for like Star Wars, like The Mandalorian a little bit, something called The Bad Batch, which I'm not really sure about that one. I'm not super familiar with like the Star Wars universe on there, but like he's got some really great writing credits like under his belt. He knows about TMNT. He's harkening back to one of the best TMNT series that's out there, according to fans. And I just feel like he has a comic book knowledge. I feel like he has the writing skills to give us what's going to be a really good television show. Now, the other showrunner who's working with Christopher Yost is going to be Alan Wan. And once again, I had never heard of him before. However, I looked at his IMDb page here, and evidently he was like the director for like almost the entire rise of the TMNT. And I know that's sort of a divisive series amongst a lot of people, but still, 30 episodes, he knows about TMNT, but that wasn't enough. He also was co-director on 44 episodes from the 2012 Ninja Turtle show, which like everyone acclaims is like one of the all-time greatest Turtles as far as like storyline goes. And so what we have here is we have a director who's very familiar with the Turtles universe. We have a writer who's very familiar with the Turtles universe, as well as how comic books in general work, as well as like major motion pictures as far as like, creating a good story. I mean, Ragnarok, man, that was like such a great Marvel movie. That's one of my favorite ones out there. And I don't know, I'm excited for what he's going to bring to the table for this sort of stopgap between the first Mutant Mayhem and the sequel here for the Tales of the TMNT. And I just think we're going to have all kinds of really cool stories. They're going to branch off in different directions, give us sort of a character studies of all the turtles, probably a lot of the enemies, and there's going to be so much background. So when we finally go into the sequel for Mutant Mayhem, it's going to be very much of a more rich universe. And I think you could probably simply watch the two movies and be just fine. But I bet there's going to be all kinds of stuff in that Mutant Mayhem sequel that's going to harken back to this television show. And I personally plan to keep up with it when it comes out next year. It's coming out on Paramount Plus, and I don't know. I'm probably going to be subscribing to Paramount Plus here pretty soon anyway, because a little bit off topic. But the Frasier reboot is coming out next month, and man, I am excited for that. I love Frasier. I mean, I have my own little Martin and Niles figures, as well as Frasier riding Cringer back here behind me, and that's on Paramount Plus. So we have that coming out. We have the Ninja Turtles coming out next year. And Paramount Plus, I mean, it's moving up there as far as like the streaming services go. It's just simply offering content that I am personally interested in. But what about you? Are you excited for the new Tales of the TMNT? Do you like the title of it? Do you like the title screen here? Are you excited for the cast? Are you excited for the some of the homage to the old comic books? Let me know your thoughts about the show in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check my other videos listed up above, and go out there, find a great game to play. Just simply have a great rest of the day.